The road was a pale ribbon through the winter plain, hard frozen and whispering beneath the hooves of the lone horse. Snow lay thin and stubborn across the sage, catching the moonlight like scattered salt. The cowboy rode slow, not because the horse could not go faster, but because the night felt heavy and he had nowhere he needed to be. He had left the last town before dusk with a tank of coffee in his gut and a quiet that followed him like a shadow. The radio in his truck had gone dead weeks ago, and he had not bothered to fix it. Silence had its own honesty. It did not pretend to care. He saw the truck pulled over ahead, hazards blinking weak amber in the cold. A shape stood beside it, small and hunched, stamping feet against the cold. He reined in and slid from the saddle, boots crunching. "You all right there?" he called. The shape straightened. It was a little girl, bundled in a coat too big, pink mittens stiff with frost. Her breath puffed white. The truck loomed behind her like a tired animal. "Mister," she said, her voice thin but steady. "Is Santa late because he cannot find our ranch?" The question hit him in a place he had not visited in years. He took off his hat without thinking, held it to his chest like a shield. "Well now," he said, buying time. "That depends. Where is your ranch?" She pointed down the road behind him, then frowned. "Or maybe that way. Mama says it is easy if you know the turns. But it all looks the same to me." He looked around. The road forked not far back, one branch sinking toward the river, the other climbing into low hills. No lights. No signs. The night was a bowl turned upside down. "Where is your mama?" he asked. "In the truck. She is resting. We were going to Grandma Lila's but the truck made a sound like a coffin then stopped. Mama said we should wait. But Santa comes tonight. He always comes. Even when Daddy was sick he came." Her eyes shone, reflecting the hazard lights. He felt the cold sink deeper. "Let me take a look," he said. The truck was old, paint rubbed thin, breath frosting the windshield. The woman inside stirred when he tapped. Her face was pale, eyes rimmed red. "The engine just died," she said. "I tried everything. I am sorry to bother you." "No bother," he said. He lifted the hood, felt the metal bite his fingers. A hose had split, brittle from cold. He could patch it enough to limp, maybe. But the night was dropping fast, the temperature with it. "You got cell service?" he asked. She shook her head. "Not out here." He closed the hood. He had tools in his saddlebags, tape and wire. He could try. But as he worked, the little girl stood close, watching his hands like they were magic. "Mister," she said again. "My name is June. What is yours?" "Call me Eli," he said. "Do you think Santa gets lost sometimes?" she asked. He thought of a different winter, years ago, when his boy had asked why the gifts were small that year. He had said Santa had a lot of children to see. It had been easier than the truth. "Sometimes," he said. "But he has ways of finding what matters." He wrapped the hose, fingers numb, breath shallow. The engine turned over, coughed, then settled into a rough idle. "That might get you a few miles," he said. "But not far. Where is the ranch?" June climbed onto the bumper, swinging her boots. She described a gate with a broken star, a cottonwood bent like it was bowing, a windmill that sang when the wind was right. He listened, mapping it in his head. He knew that land. He had ridden past it more times than he could count. He had once worked cattle there, long before the owner died. "That ranch burned 3 years ago," the woman said quietly. "We rebuilt some. It is not much. We were going to sell next spring." Eli felt the road tilt. He remembered the fire, the smell, the way the sky had glowed. He had been there, riding fence, unable to do anything but watch. He had known the man who owned it. They had shared coffee once, talked about rain. "I know where it is," he said. "It is not far. But this truck will not make it. I can take you. On your horse?" the woman asked. "I have blankets," he said. "And the barn there still stands. There is a stove. We can get you warm." She looked at her daughter, then at the dark. Fear and hope wrestled on her face. Finally she nodded. They bundled June between them, the horse shifting under the weight, steam rising. Eli led them off the road, down a track only locals knew. The wind picked up, carrying the sound of something like bells, or maybe it was only the windmill June had spoken of, singing somewhere ahead. As they rode, June leaned back against him. He could feel her heart beating, fast and trusting. She told him about her daddy, how he had been a good singer even when he was tired, how he had promised Santa would always find them because love left tracks you could not see but could feel. Eli swallowed. He had not believed in tracks like that in a long time. The ranch appeared like a ghost, the broken star gate, the bent cottonwood. The windmill groaned, a low song. He guided the horse into the barn, struck a match. The flame bloomed, fragile and bright. The stove took a while, but it caught. Warmth crept back into fingers and faces. They sat on overturned buckets, sharing coffee and a candy cane June had saved in her pocket, sticky and sweet. The woman told him her name was Mara. She told him about bills and selling and trying to be brave. He told her little, only that he rode and fixed what he could. Outside, snow began to fall, soft as breath. June grew sleepy. Her eyes drooped, then snapped open. Santa, she whispered. What if he comes and we are not there? Eli stood. He felt a decision settle in him, heavy and right. Wait here, he said. I will make sure he knows. He went back out into the snow, the cold biting like a promise. He rode hard, the horse sure-footed. He reached his own small place before dawn, a cabin with lights he had not turned on in weeks. He dug in a trunk, pulling out things he had kept without knowing why. A carved horse, a red scarf, a music box that played a thin tune. He loaded them, then something else. A letter, folded soft from being handled too often. He did not read it. He knew it by heart. He rode back as the sky lightened, pink and pale. The snow had covered his tracks, but he did not need them. He felt the way. June was awake, sitting straight. Her face lit when she saw him. Did you find him? She asked. Eli knelt, setting the gifts by the stove. He placed the letter on top. He asked me to give these to you, he said. June reached for the letter, fingers trembling. She opened it, lips moving. Tears slid down her cheeks, quiet and shining. Mama, she said. He says he is sorry he cannot be here. He says he loves us bigger than the sky. Mara covered her mouth. Eli looked away, the stove humming, the windmill singing. June hugged him, fierce and sudden. Thank you, Santa's helper, she said. He laughed, a sound rusty from disuse. He felt something loosen in his chest. When the sun was fully up, he saddled the horse. The truck would need a tow. He would come back with one. He promised. As he rode away, he looked back once. June stood in the barn door, waving the red scarf like a flag. The ranch did not look lost anymore. The road stretched ahead, pale and open. Eli rode into it, carrying less weight than he had when the night began, and more hope than he had carried in years.